Alright, tag me in, guys. It is episode 3 of Road Signs, my take as I take you down the road to, well, immediately the Royal Rumble, which is in a week, but ultimately our road to WrestleMania. This isn't necessarily a review. This is not my, making grand predictions of what's going to happen. This is just, the big major stories that we're following on the way to WrestleMania, my take on them, where I think they might go, etc. Now, lots and lots of stuff has happened in the past 2 weeks or so that could or could not affect the Rumble and or could not affect WrestleMania. One, the match between Kane and Cena has finally been signed. Cena is starting to embrace the hate. Cena, for about 5 minutes on Raw, actually had balls and took out Jack Swagger. Because, somebody's grandmother couldn't take out Jack Swagger. But they're trying to give John Cena balls, to their credit, even though it won't really make a difference. He'll still suck, and he'll go back to the main event, and he'll still stink up the main event, and shit will go on as usual, because it is the WWE. But the match has actually been announced. It's going to be Kane versus John Cena at the Royal Rumble. I'm guessing they're going to put in a stipulation. I'm guessing it's going to be, some kind of Extreme Rules or no disqualification or whatever match, because, if they want to build up Kane as the monster, he's not going to be putting on a technical submission, Stu Hart-style clinic, is he? No, he's not. The only reason I laugh about this so much is it's entirely irrelevant. John Cena and The Rock have the main event at WrestleMania. John Cena could lose every match. John Cena could get destroyed by Kane every day from now until April 1st, and he'd still have that main event spot no matter what. So anything that Cena does right now is irrelevant, which is really unfortunate for Kane, but if he wasn't facing Cena, then he'd be somewhere in the mid-card fighting, I don't know, Big Show or somebody. So I guess it's a little bit of a rub for Kane, even though, like I say, ultimately it's irrelevant. So that'll be fun. I don't care unless Cena loses. I don't care how hypocritical that makes me sound, what an asshole that makes me sound. The match itself is going to be boring as fuck, because Kane's not exactly the best in the ring either. So you got Kane, who should be in the mid-card, and John Cena, who should be washing my car. It's not going to be a good match, but if Cena wins, I will give it a point. Moving on. The Punk Ziggler situation. They have their WWE title match at the Royal Rumble, which is awesome. I love watching these guys in the ring. Unfortunately, it's going to be bullshit, because John Laurinaitis is the ref. There's that unpredictability factor. Ziggler's going to... Ziggler, if he wins, oh my god. But, I almost feel bad if they book Ziggler to win this, because this should be Ziggler's big moment. And, kind of like Epico and Primo winning the tag team titles on a house show, to have, Ziggler's first legitimate world title run shaded by the fact that it was handed to him by Laurinaitis will be bullshit, and not what somebody as good as Ziggler deserves. Ziggler is, regardless of the Laurinaitis situation, Ziggler is right on par with CM Punk as far as the main event title scene goes. They've gotten Vicky to shut up a little bit, and they've given him the mic more, which is amazing, because I think he can go blow for blow with Punk as far as the promos go. We proved it this past week on Raw. These guys deserve to have a match that's not cluttered by any bullshit. I mean, for this is the match that shouldn't have a special guest referee. It should have a stipulation that bans Vicky Guerrero from the ring, so these guys can just go and do their thing. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that, which means I hope we get it somewhere later on. Maybe not at Mania, but after Mania, maybe. Next pay-per-view after WrestleMania. The name escapes me at the moment, but they could do that. We all know, some way, one way or another, it's going to be Punk Jericho at Mania. Unless it's Punk Jericho Ziggler, which could also be good, but Punk Jericho at Mania, Punk Ziggler from there on, awesome. Danierl Bryan, Big Show, and Mark Henry, they finally announced this week on SmackDown what we've known for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, that Bryan, Big Show, and Mark Henry are going to have a triple threat match not at WrestleMania, at the Royal Rumble. They threw in the little swerve that it's going to be a cage match, which is what makes me believe that Danierl Bryan's going to win. Danierl Bryan is going to win this match, and that's a good thing. Because, A, I really don't want one of the giants of the WWE, going into WrestleMania with the belt. I want to see, the fighters, the gladiators, the competitors, however you want to talk about, anybody that's not in that monster category. You've got Kane in the monster category. You've got, Khali, Big Show, Mark Henry. They're all in that big, jacked up monster category, whereas then after them you've got the actual human wrestlers, which is what I want to see at WrestleMania. Obviously the exception is like if Mark Henry and Big Show go up against each other, if Great Khali and Kane go up against each other, that's fine. That's a freak show. That's a sideshow attraction as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect to those guys. But it is a sideshow attraction. It should not involve the World Heavyweight Championship. The reason I say it is this. Danierl Bryan is being a very, very odd heel at the moment, because he's still the underdog, and he's pissing off everybody. Anybody who saw the lumberjack match, I'm twisting my words tonight, guys, and I'm really sorry. The lumberjack match tonight on SmackDown, he was getting in everybody's face, the faces and the heels. He was getting in Wade Barrett's face so much that Wade Barrett almost had a good guy sort of smile, sort of laugh kind of look on his face, and it's like, if they go face to face, who's going to be the heel? But Danierl Bryan's in kind of an awkward spot right now where he's not really a heel, because he's pissing off the other heels, and he's not really a face because he's definitely pissing off the faces. But his thing is right now is, how many lives does he have with the World Heavyweight Championship? He's smart, he's intellectual, and he's doing those things that they're not exactly cheating, but we don't like them either. That's why we don't like. If we could just say, hey, he cheated, you know, da-da-da-da, but he doesn't. He finds a way, you know, finds the loopholes, and those are the kind of people we hate more. It's reflected in real life. We hate the people that do bad things that aren't technically bad things. You know, he escaped the Big Show twice. He escaped Mark Henry tonight and all the other 30 people that wanted to kick his ass. And the whole point of a cage match is you win by escaping. He's gonna put, I almost am willing to bet money on it, he's gonna get Big Show so pissed off, he's gonna get Mark Henry so pissed off, they're gonna take each other out, and he's going to be the champion, at least going into the Elimination Chamber, if not WrestleMania itself. Because if he stays on this heel path, and the amount of growth he's done in a month character-wise, if we were grading him on character alone, he would deserve to be in the Rumble. If we were grading him on ability, he had the ability all along, his character has caught up to his ability, give him the spot. I mean, you gave him the spot because Mark Henry was injured, give him the spot now because you recognize that he deserves it. Come on, WWE. Cage match, Royal Rumble. The match itself, I don't expect it to be anything too spectacular. Like I say, you got two freak shows and one legit wrestler, and there's an imbalance there. But Bryan wins and we'll go on. They're making a big deal, and this is something I wanted to talk about for a while. They're making a big deal about saying, the announcers and whatnot are making a big deal and making a great point to say anybody that has a match at the Royal Rumble is still eligible for the Royal Rumble match itself. Now, that's always kind of been the case, especially if you do like me and either watch the old Royal Rumbles or listen to a podcast like Aftermath where they discuss the old Royal Rumbles, where everybody that was on the card is also in the Royal Rumble match itself. But it's leading me to believe, you know, definitely whoever's in a title match, whoever doesn't win the title matches, like if Punk retains and Danierl Bryan retains, then Big Show, Mark Henry, and Dolph Ziggler are all eligible for the Rumble. But now that they're pushing the fact that everybody is eligible, brings up one possibility that makes me lick my lips as a wrestling fan. They're not going to do it. I'm fully aware of that. We are going to have 2 world titles until WWE goes under, if it ever goes under. But can you imagine if Dolph Ziggler, I'm just using Dolph Ziggler as an example, this could go for any of those 5 guys, but if Dolph Ziggler, the show-off, beats CM Punk, becomes the WWE champion, double times into the Royal Rumble match, because he has pulled double duty in a lot of pay-per-views recently, pulls double duty, goes into the Royal Rumble match itself as the WWE champion, wins, and challenges the World Heavyweight Championship, so that the match at WrestleMania unifies the belts. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty much saying that that's not what's going to happen. But it would be brilliant. Would it not be great for CM Punk to retain? If CM Punk retained his WWE Championship, went in, won the Rumble, and went up against Danierl Bryan, vice versa. If Danierl Bryan defeats Big Show and Mark Henry, then goes into the Rumble, then wins the Royal Rumble, then unifies the Tag Team Championships with CM Punk at WrestleMania. You know, Danierl Bryan being the heel that he is, hey, in one night, I beat the Big Show, I beat Mark Henry, I beat 29 other guys, and I cemented myself a spot at Mania. You guys can all suck it. I'm the underdog, but I'm the one that's winning. That would be... the value, the bragging value of that would rival the whole Jericho, I beat The Rock in Austin in one night thing that he slips into a lot of his arguments there. So yeah, definitely, I don't think the champions themselves are going to be in the Rumble match, but definitely whoever comes out, whatever 3 guys come out on the losing end of those 2 matches are going to be in the Rumble. Mark Henry's going to, you know, come into the Rumble and bowl over like 5 people. Big Show's going to come over and swat away 5 people like a big grizzly bear, like they all call him. Ziggler's going to come in and he'll have, if he comes in, he'll have a high spot where, you know, everybody gets a zigzag and everybody's down on the ground. You know, much like Edge coming in a couple years ago. He makes his surprise entrance and spears everybody. I can see Ziggler doing the same kind of thing. Walks into the Rumble when there's like 10 guys in the ring and zigzags 5 of them. Those moments are awesome. Also, CM Punk. Look at the past 2 Royal Rumbles, both when he was in the New Nexus and when he was with the Straight Edge Society. Both, you know, questionable factions at the time. But CM Punk, in both of those Rumbles, made himself a good portion of the story of that Rumble match. So CM Punk has a spot in the Rumble, has sort of a belonging spot. As far as whether he's going to retain or lose his championship, that's almost regardless. I would love to see him in the Rumble just because when he's in the Royal Rumble, he makes it about him. The one Rumble where he sat there and just sort of waited as opponents came down and he was cutting promo in between. That was fucking brilliant. I watched that the other day. The next Rumble, when it was, you know, the 40-man, it was the Nexus versus the Core, and slowly but surely you saw CM Punk get more and more backup. CM Punk has that aura about him. It's the same as when he picks up a microphone. Whatever else is going on in that ring, suddenly it becomes about CM Punk. So regardless of whether he wins or loses his championship match, I want to see CM Punk in that match. Regardless of if he wins it or not, I want him to be part of the Royal Rumble match. I think I've rambled on enough about that. This is a rumor that I've heard. And I heard this rumor before Mick Foley showed up on Raw this past week. The rumor I heard was the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay versus Dude Love at Mania. And yes, I'm going to give you a second to pick your heads back up, take your hand off your forehead. You want a head desk, you want a face palm, you want an eye roll, do it now. Okay, now that you're done, I don't want to see this as a match. I really, really don't. It won't be a good match. But here's the thing. Especially with something like Brodus Clay right now. It's not supposed to be a Matt Classic. It's not supposed to be Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit. Brodus Clay is a character that's there for fun. Same thing with the Hurricane. Same thing with Doink the Clown. Same thing with anybody else we can possibly mention. And not that Mick Foley was a comedy character in general, but his incarnation as Dude Love was kind of the same thing. The humorous aspects of the interaction that he had with people like Vince McMahon, people like Steve Austin, people like Shawn Michaels, etc. When he was in that Dude Love persona, it was comedy. There were some questionably decent matches that came out of that time as well, but it was entertaining. And if you put those two together for a short, entertaining match at Mania, I could deal with it as a segment of entertainment. I would have to turn off my, smart mark wrestling brain, my analytical YWC side, and I'd have to sit back and take it as the entertainment that it was. If they were going to do that, I would not have a problem with it. It's horrible, and it would be a car crash of a match, but I can't say I'd hate it. I'm just putting it out there. The last thing I'm going to say, before I talk about my Royal Rumble predictions again, I was going to save a spot in here for the controversy surrounding Edge going into the Hall of Fame, but I've already talked about that in a previous video that I've done. I got together with my friend Angela. We spoke for over an hour and 10 minutes. We did a big collaboration video. I believe the video is called Spaz and Poison on Randy Orton and Edge. We address not only Orton's injury, etc., and people's opinion of that, but we also address the supposed, conspiracy or scandal or controversy or whatever around Edge going into the Hall of Fame. I'm going to say here and now, I don't think there is any controversy. You can't deny that Edge deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But as far as the controversy that some people are stirring up, go back a couple of videos, check out that compilation video. You get more than my fair share of my opinion on that entire issue. As far as the Horsemen go, awesome. Was never really a fan of them in their heyday, but, they did what they did. Let them go into the Hall of Fame. I'm marking out for Edge, not going to lie, Toronto Kid right here. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to dwell on what other people are upset about, because like some other people on here, I've decided that I'm going to be positive this year in the YWC, and yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Said in my last Road Signs video, my predictions for the Rumble are Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, or Randy Orton. Now let's look at those 5. Sheamus and Wade Barrett. Now here's where a lot of people are pushing for Sheamus and Wade Barrett to win, and I understand why. They are the personification of up-and-comers that have made themselves shine. I will admit that, and as I've said before, they are not high on my list. They are not the people that I tune in to watch, but I can't deny what they've done. If they won, I wouldn't have a problem. I don't see it happening, only because the rivalry between the two of them is so great, I could see it carrying on to Mania. I could see that, like, they had their match tonight, and it was interrupted by Jinder Mahal. I can see them having some interaction during the Rumble match, one of them eliminating the other, and the other one coming back and, you know, doing the after elimination, which is a spot that we've seen before, but it always stirs up more controversy. I can see them being 2 of the 6 people in an Elimination Chamber match and costing each other that match, and I can see them carrying this rivalry to Mania, because even though I don't like them, I see the potential for the feud. So if they're going to have a match against each other at Mania, they're not going to be going for a title belt, are they? Cody Rhodes. Interesting Cody Rhodes. And I'm going to take a side note for a second. Somebody who doesn't nearly get enough credit, in my opinion, in the WWE over on SmackDown, Justin Gabriel. Justin Gabriel had an amazing match tonight with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes won. Cody Rhodes is... I hesitate to use the word better, but he is. Justin Gabriel had an amazing showing of himself tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing Justin Gabriel in the Rumble match and what he can contribute to the Rumble match this year, now that he doesn't have, you know, being part of a group to weigh him down. But Cody Rhodes, there's already speculation. You know, is he going to have one more match with Booker T at Mania? Is he going to finally fight his brother Goldust at Mania? And ultimately, he spoke about an Intercontinental Championship versus World Heavyweight Championship match. It has great marquee value, but I don't think WWE is going to do it. I don't think WWE is going to have Intercontinental Champion versus World Heavyweight Champion. They would do it on a smaller pay-per-view. I don't think they're going to do it at WrestleMania, because that kills the opportunity of having 2 separate championship matches. Do I think it would be an awesome match? Absolutely. Do I think WWE is going to take the Intercontinental Championship off Cody Rhodes right now? No, because not only did he bring back the old belt, he brought back prestige and meaning to that championship, so much so that Cody Rhodes and the Intercontinental Championship have kind of fused. The Intercontinental Championship fits on Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes fits in that belt. I don't see them taking it off him anytime soon. I don't see him winning the Rumble. I see him making an amazing accounting of himself and coming up short. Dolph Ziggler. Like I said, he's got his match with CM Punk at Royal Rumble, and before I had said that, okay, if he's got his title match at the Royal Rumble, he's not going to be in the Royal Rumble match itself. Now that they make a point of saying everybody's going to be in the Royal Rumble, I can see him pulling double duty. He's the only guy that consistently through 2011 was pulling double duty at pay-per-views, and you have to respect that. Whether you like what he was doing, how he was being booked, etc., 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 to have a U.S. title match, and this is only one example from one of the pay-per-views, to have a U.S. title match and an Intercontinental Champion, or a U.S. title match and a tag team title match, not only in the same night, but back-to-back, you have to respect what the guy is putting himself through, because he's fighting one guy in one match, 2 guys in the next match. You have to respect it. I can definitely see them having Ziggler pull double duty. Regardless of what happens in the WWE title match, Ziggler's going to be in the Rumble. If he wins, more power to him. More power to him, and Jericho will stick himself in the title picture later on. Now, do I think Ziggler's actually going to win? I would love to see it. I love Punk versus Ziggler. Punk versus Ziggler is one of those matches. Punk versus Ziggler is right up there with Edge versus Jeff Hardy. It's right up there with Austin versus The Rock. It's right up there with the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. It's right up there with Triple H and Mick Foley. It's one of those rivalries that's just never going to be bad. Do I think that that rivalry deserves to happen at Mania? Yes. Do I think they will? I think the WWE title is going to be more of a, will make the title match closer to WrestleMania itself. There's going to be a lot of controversy. Eventually it'll end up being a triple threat match, etc., etc., etc. The match that I think will be set far off will be Randy Orton versus Danierl Bryan. And I'm going to say this, and I put this on a video that that Deluxe Man did about Danierl Bryan a little while ago. I have a lot of respect for Danierl Bryan. I really, really do. He's not necessarily... He's in that Sheamus Wade Barrett category as far as I'm concerned, where I don't necessarily tune in to watch him. Like, he's not the reason I'm tuning in to watch. When he comes on my screen, he gives me something to watch, and I can appreciate it. He's the antithesis of somebody like John Cena. Just putting that out there. Orton's in my fave 5. I've loved watching Randy Orton in the ring for years. Randy Orton legitimately dipped himself into the mid-card scene over the past year. He made everybody he touched look great. Now, does he deserve to win the Royal Rumble? I think he does. Does he deserve to be in a match with Danierl Bryan at WrestleMania? Yes, he does. Will he make Danierl Bryan look good? No. He will make Danierl Bryan look fucking awesome. Do I think he should beat Danierl Bryan at WrestleMania? Here's where I want you to listen. No. I think Randy Orton needs to go to WrestleMania and pump up Danierl Bryan. A World Heavyweight Championship victory over Randy Orton at WrestleMania will put Danierl Bryan where he needs to be. Now, everybody that says I want Randy Orton to steamroll everybody can suck it. And I'm not answering texts because I'm doing a video, just putting that out there. But no. Yes, I want to see Orton versus Bryan at Mania. Yes, Orton's in my fave 5. Yes, I think Danierl Bryan should go over Orton at Mania. Yes, I think CM Punk should go over Ziggler and or Jericho at Mania. The two guys that ended Raw in 2011, Danierl Bryan and CM Punk, are the two guys that need to sit on top of the mountain at WrestleMania. That's going to be my last thought for this video. I've talked a very, very long time. It's getting reasonably late. I'm losing my voice, hence the water. But yeah, on a quick other note, I've got down in the mod of my page, I've still got the spot for Q&A questions and name your star suggestions, guys. It's running a little slim. I want to keep the conversation in the YWC going, so please hit up that mod with Q&A questions and name your star questions. Please keep in mind, when you're putting in suggestions for name your star, I'm not asking for the main event, guys. I'm not asking for the CM Punks and the Alberto Del Rios and the John Cenas and the Randy Ortons. I'm asking, give me a name that you haven't heard anybody talk about in a while. Keep it to WWE and TNA, because those are the guys that I pay attention to. But give me a... My very first one was Eric Young. When was the last time you saw anybody do an actual video on Eric Young? That is my prime example, and I thank Marcus for choosing that that guy out of all the guys that he could have chosen. I want to start conversation where there isn't any. I don't want to throw my voice into the wind on something that a million people are already talking about. Other than that, guys, it's been almost 22 minutes now. Thanks for listening. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start that conversation, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to all you guys later. I'm tagging out. Bye.